DEF CON 33, we are right here at the DDoS Community space. I'm here with Rich. Look, Rich, let's just jump right into it. Why are you here at DEF CON? What are you doing here? Just give me a couple sentences, like, tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out, drinking beer here in the DDoS community area. And so we have, it's just a place, if you're interested in DDoS attacks, what the new attacks are, how to defend against those attacks, come and chat with us. We got a really cool setup here where we have two different war games going on.
Okay.
So you can be the attacker, and you can be the defender. So this is an open source solution that I came up with, I created, and very easy to be the attacker. You can just kind of select the different types of attacks. When you select it from the drop down, it gives you information about the attack, so you can learn about why the attack is so effective, other information like that. Boom, you launch the attack, and then you can see like our simulated web service goes down, and then you can be the defender, try to identify the attack traffic, and then mitigate that attack traffic.
All right, so we have, I saw 10 different attacks that you can just kind of jump right in right now, like knowing nothing, you can just jump right in and execute.
Yeah, no skills needed.
What is your preferred attack? Overall, what would you say is like the most effective if I had to ask you, today?
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, a lot of different kinds of attacks going on. There is something called a carpet bomb attack, where instead of the attacker just attacking one IP address, they spread it out across, say, like a /24. That makes it much harder for the attacker, the defenders, to detect the attack and mitigate the attack. So that's definitely something there. One of the bad attacks there. A lot of botnet attacks. A lot of use of open proxies. So these are like web application attacks, and instead of going directly from hosting companies, things like that, they relay them through these open proxies, and then goes down to the victim. And so that hides the true source IP of the attacker. Makes it more difficult for the defenders to trace it back.
Is there no way to go back then and find any record of the attacker in that case? Like if you're using proxy like that, is that 100% effective?
No, it's not 100% effective, but it just makes it more difficult because as a defender, like let's say that open proxy is not on your network, then you have to contact the network operators there. And a lot of companies, they export logs, traffic logs called NetFlow from the routers, and then put it into a database. And so you can ask them, hey, please search like who was connecting to this IP before it went out. So yeah, that's one way to trace back. And so we actually have a community of people that are helping out with that, trying to trace back these attacks. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, speaking of communities, the origins of DDoS is literally just a ton of people coming together and scheduling an attack, correct, and to target out. But nowadays, you can have a virtual machine running, and just one single person can be running a ton of information over to one single target. With
increased throughput nowadays, there are like DOS attacks where instead of it being distributed, you can just have one host generating the attack traffic and bring down an application. Excuse me. And in our lab here, we have something called Slow Loris, which is a pretty common web services attack where it just opens up a connection, and then it just kind of is like, hey, are you there? You're like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna send you some information. Hold on, and it just kind of like keeps that open. So yeah, that's an attack there where it can be just like one or two IP addresses that you need in order to execute that attack.
But I guess from your end, you could leverage that as well and run the simulation of, whatever. If you have a client or whoever, you can run the simulation of a massive amount of packets running through, and how are you defending that, right? So
yeah, exactly. So we're using some open source solutions. There's something called DPDK, data plane development kit that allows you to generate a lot of packets from you have to have a network card that is supported, but it takes the network interface and then puts it in user land instead of it being connected to the kernel, and allows you to send packets very, very quickly. So you can have like one server with 10, 100 gig interfaces, and you can send like line rate, and it's pretty amazing that you can generate all this traffic with just like, one host.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot with that. You gotta be careful with that.
Tell me, what in the past, past, say 20, 30 years, so, in general, are there any DDoS attacks that really just resonate, that just really struck you, and you're like, I want to dedicate more time to this, and
yeah,
where to bring you where you're at right now?
Yeah, so there have been a lot of large volumetric attacks, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We have botnet attacks that, a lot of like webcams and home routers that get compromised, get turned into bots to launch these attacks. Like a specific attack, so one that I am very interested in, and I gave a presentation on today, was that you can generate spoof traffic from any source IP. And so normally your ISP or whoever, they will block that attack traffic, but with this new vulnerability, you can take the spoof traffic, wrap it in a tunnel like GRE, IP and IP, and then send it to a vulnerable router, and there are like 2.4 million vulnerable routers. And boom, you just generate all of this DOS traffic, and it makes it extremely difficult for the defenders to try to identify this spoof traffic and mitigate it.
Wow-wee. And from what I've heard, that was called Tunnel Apocalypse.
My presentation was called Tunnel Apocalypse.
I mean, that sounds pretty heavy. Again, dangerous. I'm glad you were able to take a second to talk, because I think what you're doing here is really it's needed, especially because it's ever evolving, right?
It is ever evolving, and really the attackers are exchanging information all the time. As defenders trying to learn about all of this, it's really good that we kind of come together as a community, share information. And so, hey, if you're DDoS, you're a DDoS expert, you're not familiar with it, you're DDoS curious, come hang out.
It doesn't matter. Anyone,
that's right.
Everyone can come in here. You can run an attack immediately. You can sit here at the computer, run an attack, and get a taste. Get a taste.
Yeah.
Of what Rich has dedicated a lot of time and effort to putting together here. So
yeah, we've got two different labs. The lab in the back has a commercial solution, which is if you're looking for some real-world experience and something that would be used in large organizations, then we've got that lab in the back that you can run, which is really cool. Along with this one is a little bit more open source. Okay. So we wanted to have that kind of commercial solution and do something open source as well.
Man, Rich, thank you so much for having this chat. Again, but for the first time.
Cool.
And we're gonna keep checking you out, year after year, and just seeing how you evolve with the attacks that you're letting us play with here. And if you're around DEF CON 33 right now and you're watching this video, come check out the DDoS community space. Talk to Rich or Pratik, who's in a talk right now, actually, and come check it out, because I think there's no matter what level you're at, this is it right here. And I mean, this is what DEF CON's all about. IRL, hackers get together, and we can all sit here and learn from each other and move things forward, right?
That's right. Hack the planet.
Hack the planet.
Okay.
All right.